you're serious about preventing identity theft, it can be frustrating because there is an endless list of precautions that you theoretically could be taking on a daily basis to reduce your risk. And I'm going to guess that you don't like endless lists of precautions. You don't like long-winded security checklists. You have a job, a family, hobbies, things that you would prefer to be doing. So I'll get right to it. If you're serious about preventing identity theft, you need to do this. Freeze your credit at each of the 3 big credit bureaus: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. This will take you less than 18 minutes total. It's completely free, and in this video, I'm going to be explaining exactly how to do it. I will also be explaining the dirty secret behind why this technique is not recommended more widely. Now, is freezing your credit going to completely eliminate your risk of identity theft? No, it's not, but it is going to greatly reduce your risk. So let's get into it. Starting with Equifax, to freeze your credit at this bureau, you are going to go to the URL that you see on the screen here. Once on their website, you are going to navigate down towards the bottom of their page and click on Place or Manage a Freeze, which you see on the screen here. Your next step is to click Place a Security Freeze. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you by making you watch me fill out each of these steps with my personal information, but I will briefly take you through each one. So here is where you are going to input your personal information. Do that, and once you have your account created, you are going to be signed in by default. Once you've set up your account at Equifax, this is what you are going to see. Scroll to the section under your identity that is called Freeze and click into that. If you haven't frozen your credit, you are going to see this notification that your credit is not frozen, and you are simply going to click the link to place a freeze. Your credit report at Equifax is now frozen, and you can unfreeze it at any time should you desire. Next up, we have Experian. First off, go to the URL that you see on the screen here. Scroll down to freeze or unfreeze your Experian credit file. If you have not created an account with Experian in the past, you are of course going to click Create a Free Account. Input your personal information, including social security number. And in this section under Security Freeze, you will be able to freeze your file with the click of a button. Note that in the right-hand sidebar of Experian's site, you are going to see an upsell for identity theft protection with Experian. Personally, I recommend you go with Aura, not Experian. Aura offers a better product overall, in my opinion. But you don't need to buy either of these products to freeze your credit file with Experian. All you need to do is click that button. Next up is TransUnion. Go ahead, navigate to the URL that you see on screen here and scroll down to the credit freeze and unfreeze section. Click Add a Freeze and input your personal information. Once you've input your personal information, you are going to click I accept and continue on to step 2. This is where you will create a username, a password, and you will input the answer to a secret question. Here's a tip for you. When inputting the answer to a secret question, input a gibberish answer. That way, no social engineering hacker can actually reverse engineer the real answer to that question. You are then going to verify your identity, and you will shortly have your account set up. Now, once in your account, navigate to Credit Freeze and click Add Freeze. Do note that you can unfreeze your files at any of these 3 bureaus at any time. You can typically do so by phone or directly on their websites. If you are given a PIN code when you set up a freeze on one of your files, make sure you save that because you will need that PIN in order to unfreeze it. Now, as mentioned, there is more that you could be doing to prevent identity theft. We will include links to recommended resources in the video description below. So here's a short list of things that, in addition to freezing your credit at the 3 main credit bureaus, I recommend doing in order to reduce your risk. You should be reviewing your credit report annually, quarterly, ideally monthly. You can do this for free at freecreditreport.com, or you can do it through a service like Aura, which if you want to check that out, go ahead, look in the video description below. We will have exclusive discounts for you. You should be making purchases with a credit card, not a debit card, because debit card purchases are harder to reverse. You should be reviewing checking and credit statements on a monthly basis for signs of suspicious activity. This is how I recently uncovered that I myself had been the victim of credit card fraud. I recommend you opt in to paperless statements, and if you are intent on still receiving physical mail from your banks, then go ahead, buy a paper shredder and make sure that you're shredding those with regularity. Any paperwork that does contain sensitive personal information, you are going to want to store in a secure safe. And for secure storage of digital documents, again, I recommend Aura. Check them out. They do offer that as part of each of their plans. You should be using a strong password manager. Personally, I recommend Bitwarden, and you should be avoiding LastPass password manager at all costs. Don't use them. By freezing your credit, which hopefully you just did, you are going to be ahead of 80% of people. And if you follow these additional steps that I just now gave you, you're going to be in the 98th, 99th percentile. Now onto the juicy stuff, the dirty secret that I alluded to at the beginning of the video. Why do people make this so complicated? Personally, I think there are a few reasons. The first is that content creators are often complete geeks. We are early adopters. A lot of us cater to a tech-savvy audience. So there can be a tendency to overcomplicate simply because for the geeks of us out there, overcomplication is fun. I mean, do you not get super excited at the thought of using email aliases like I do? Additionally, among content creators, there can be a tendency to associate complication with expertise. But just because somebody is throwing complicated words or concepts at you does not mean that they know what they are talking about. And the third, and definitely the dirtiest reason that this gets complicated, is because there is a lot of money in the space. Companies have a commercial incentive to complicate this. And this starts with the big three credit bureaus themselves, who sell your data to, among other places, financial institutions. They don't want to let you know that you can easily opt out of the system by freezing your credit. And you know who else can complicate this? Are companies that offer privacy solutions like VPNs, password managers, and identity theft protection. Are these services useful? Yes. Are they worth it? Yes, but the reality is that the type of encryption that, say, your consumer-grade VPN offers you, that's really not going to have that much of an impact. Freezing your credit at each of the three big credit bureaus is. So go ahead, do that now, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.